Hello, welcome to another poetry reading in the evening. Tonight, I'm going to start with some Walt Whitman. Get my TikTok friends over here going on, so maybe answering some of them, some requests. But yeah, start with Walt Whitman. And this is from Leaves of Grass. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. As I Pondered in Silence by Walt Whitman. As I pondered in silence, returning upon my poems, considering, lingering long, a phantom arose before me, distrustful aspect, terrible in beauty, age, and power, the genius of poets of old lands, as to me directing like flame its eyes, with finger pointing to many immortal songs, and menacing voice. What singest thou? It said. Knowest thou not there is but one theme for ever enduring bards? And that is the theme of war, the fortune of battles, the making of perfect soldiers. Be it so, then I answered. I too, haughty shade, also sing war, and a longer and greater one than any. Waged in my book with varying fortune, with flight, advance, and retreat, victory deferred and wavering, yet methinks certain, as good as certain at the last, the field, the world, for life and death, for the body and for the eternal soul. Lo, I too am come, chanting the chant of battles. I above all promote brave soldiers. Here is To a Historian by Walt Whitman. You who celebrate bygones, who have explored outward the surfaces of the races, the life that has exhibited itself, who have treated of man as the creature of politics, aggregates rulers and priests, I, habitant of the Alleghanies, treating of him as he is in himself and his own rights, pressing the pulse of the life that has seldom exhibited itself, the great pride of man in himself, chanter of personality, outlining what is yet to be, I project the history of the future. Walt Whitman, To a Historian. Let's see. Here is From Far Dakota's Canyons. From far Dakota's canyons, lands of the wild ravine, the dusky Sioux, the lonesome stretch, the silence, haply today a mournful wail, haply a trumpet note for heroes. The battle bulletin, the Indian ambuscade, the craft, the fatal environment, the cavalry companies fighting to the last in sternest heroism, in the midst of their little circle with their slaughtered horses for breastworks, the fall of Custer and all his officers and men. Continues yet the old, old legend of our race, the loftiest of life upheld by death, the ancient banner perfectly maintained. O lesson opportune, O how I welcome thee, as sitting in dark days, lone, sulky, through the time's thick murk, looking in vain for light, for hope, from unsuspected parts of fierce and momentary proof. The sun there at the center, though concealed, electric life forever at the center, breaks forth a lightning flash. Thou of the tawny flowing hair in battle, I erewhile saw with erect head pressing over in front, bearing a bright sword in thy hand, now ending well in death the splendid fever of thy deeds. I bring no dirge for it or thee. I bring a glad triumphal sonnet, desperate and glorious, I in defeat most desperate, most glorious, After thy many battles in which never yielding up a gun or a color, leaving behind thee a memory sweet to soldiers, thou yieldest up thyself. So it was an ode to old George Armstrong Custer. I've gone and visited the Little Bighorn battlefield a couple times over the last couple summers, and I'd always heard like Custer was, he was an idiot, he was arrogant, he stumbled across the plains and lost his hair or whatever, and that's just not true. Custer was a very formidable foe, and to say that is to not give credit to some of the best light cavalry the world has ever seen. The Cheyenne dog soldiers, the Sioux, the Lakota, um, the Arapaho. Those guys were incredible, incredible warriors who took down another incredible warrior. That was quite the clash out on the rolling hills of Montana. And let's try something else. Oh, Elizabeth Barrett Browning popped right up on my thing. I was reading it earlier. Sonnets from the Portuguese, number 14. If thou must love me, let it be for naught, except for love's sake only. Do not say I love her for her smile, her look, her way of speaking gently, for a trick of thought that falls in well with mine, and certes brought a sense of pleasant ease on such a day. For these things in themselves, beloved, may be changed, or change for thee, and love so wrought may be unwrought so. Neither love me for thine own dear pities wiping my cheeks dry. A creature might forget to weep who bore thy comfort long and lose thy love thereby. But love me for love's sake, that evermore thou mayest love on through love's eternity. Elizabeth Barrett Browning. My chunky poetry book. Oh, Heather, I love Elizabeth. Elizabeth is amazing. I read her earlier today and then right now, but I actually don't read her that much. I don't read her as much as I should. Here's one by Roy Croft. It's called Love. I like love poems. I don't know if you could tell that. I love you, not only for what you are, but for what I am when I'm with you. I love you, not for what you have made of yourself, but for what you are making of me. I love you for the part of me that you bring out. I love you for putting your hand into my heaped up heart and passing over all the foolish, weak things that you can't help dimly seeing there, and for drawing out into the light all the beautiful belongings that no one else had looked quite far enough to find. I love you because you are helping me to make of the lumber of my life not a tavern, but a temple. Out of the works of my everyday, not a reproach, but a song. I love you because you have done more than any creed could have done to make me good. because you have, I love you because you have done more than any creed could have done to make me good, and more than any fate could have done to make me happy. You have done it without a touch, without a word, without a sign. You have done it by being yourself. Perhaps that is what being a friend means after all. Roy Croft, Love. Christina, what's going on? What's up, Joe? Hmm, what do I read next? A Psalm of Life. That was a good one. Tell me not in mournful numbers, life is but an empty dream. For the soul is dead that slumbers, and things are not what they seem. Life is real, life is earnest, and the grave is not its goal. Dust thou art, to dust returnest, was not spoken of the soul. Not enjoyment and not sorrow is our destined end or way, but to act that each tomorrow finds us farther than today. Art is long and time is fleeting, and our hearts, though stout and brave, still like muffled drums are beating funeral marches to the grave. In the world's broad field of battle, in the bivouac of life, be not like dumb driven cattle, be a hero in the strife. Trust no future, howe'er pleasant, let the dead past bury its dead. Act, act in the living present, heart within, and God o'erhead. Lives of great men all remind us we can make our lives sublime, and departing leave behind us footprints on the sands of time. Footprints that perhaps another, sailing o'er life's solemn main, a forlorn and shipwrecked brother seeing, shall take heart again. Let us then be up and doing, with a heart for any fate, still achieving, still pursuing, learn to labor and to wait. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Well, I'm sorry to hear that about your mom. Yesterday, I actually was 10 years that I lost my dad, so I'm kind of in the same, you know, same kind of mindset, I think. I have in the past, um, every once in a while, but usually if it's either public domain or if I own the book, and I don't have that one. Here's Lord Tennyson. Uh, Michael. I'm not sure. I didn't see this till just now, so I'm not sure which one you're talking about. I read. Uh, where did I read? Yeah, let me know which one you're talking about. All right, here is Lord Tennyson, Sweet and Low. Sweet and low, sweet and low, wind of the western sea. Low, low, breathe and blow, wind of the western sea. Over the rolling waters go, come from the dying moon and blow. Blow him again to me, while my little one, while my pretty one sleeps. Sleep and rest, sleep and rest. Father will come to thee soon. Rest, rest on mother's breast. Father will come to thee soon. Father will come to his babe in the nest. Silver sails all out of the west under the silver moon. Sleep, sleep, my little one. Sleep, my pretty one, sleep. Sweet and low, Alfred Lord Tennyson. No, I hadn't read any Wordsworth. That one, the whatever one you were talking about, I know it wasn't him because I didn't read him yet this evening, but he is awesome. The yeah, Christina, if you want to read one, um, yeah, hop on. Yeah, that last one was Tennyson, "Sweet and Low" by Tennyson.
Really appreciate you letting me read this because the last time I read it, I bawled. And I just finished it today, and I was like, I gotta get better at reading this.
Good deal. Well, you can practice on us. And give us a little background on what this poem is about and what it means to you.
Yeah, this is the first poem that's ever made me cry. But this is called Remember Me. It's a part of a 3-part poem trilogy where it talks about kind of what it felt like to be stuck for 4 years because I was dying inside from losing my mom. And I didn't know I was depressed for 4 years and kind of just fighting my mind and how I got out of it. So, this third one, Remember Me, is kind of how I got out of it and saw the light, which has been this year, all of this year. And I think it hit me so hard because I've been trying to put this into words for almost 5 years because her anniversary of her passing is the 21st.
Okay.
So this is Remember Me. Remember me, the pure joy I used to be, a wild spirit muted by destiny, a headstrong soul daring to be free, with each breath cruelly reminded that it came with a fee, a bleeding heart giving of herself unconditionally, a hopeless romantic tripping head over heel unintentionally, secretly praying that this time love was truly meant to be, piece by piece losing herself in the shadows of her stolen identity, a chameleon playing her part all too perfectly, a gypsy struggling to come to grips with her mortality, a wounded warrior crippled by her brain's brutality, frantically piecing together any remnants of even her most broken mentality, convinced it has to be better than her jaded reality, once free, now dormant under lock and key, eager to take a knee, turning a blind eye as my tortured spirit let my demons roam free. Living in the shadows, nothing more than a shell of the light I used to be, suffocating under the expectations of a cruel world void of the better half of me, crying out in agony, reluctantly accepting that I have to lose her to love me. I may never be the carefree spirit, but I can embrace the good, bad, and the ugly that complete me, like my mama would have had she been given the opportunity just to be. So today, remember me for every inch of the healed person I struggle to be. End of peace. That time I didn't cry. I got teary-eyed.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I know your mom would like that.
I think so too. I don't know if she would.
Thank you for sharing that with us. That's really beautiful.
Thanks so much for letting me get that out. I didn't realize I needed to as much as I did.
Yeah.
And I'm so sorry for your loss. And at least I felt very lost when I lost my mom. And it took a very long time to find myself again. And I know I'm still finding myself.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry if you're going through any of that.
Yeah. Thank you. I did go through a sort of a stage like that. Like I feel like I felt the things you were saying. You know what I mean? I think everybody obviously is different. You know, even my own other siblings, let's say, might not have dealt with it like me, but it's that I think everybody that loses someone goes through those thought processes, maybe some longer than others and things like that. But that was beautiful. Thank you very much for sharing that with us.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to get done so I can listen to more beautiful, calming poetry with your voice.
All right. Thank you, Christina. That was great. That was great, great, great. Good night. Um, let's see. Somebody asked for Splendor in the Grass by William Wordsworth. What though the radiance which was once so bright be now forever taken from my sight, though nothing can bring back the hour of splendor in the grass, of glory in the flower. We will grieve not, rather find strength in what remains behind, in the primal sympathy which having been must ever be, in the soothing thoughts that spring out of human suffering, in the faith that looks through death, in the years that bring the philosophic mind. Splendor in the Grass, William Wordsworth. Yeah, Jubes, that was you, wasn't it? Good, good choice, good choice. You bet, absolutely. Here is Dover Beach by Matthew Arnold. The sea is calm tonight. The tide is full. The moon lies fair upon the straits. On the French coast, the light gleams and is gone. The cliffs of England stand glimmering and vast out in the tranquil bay. Come to the window. Sweet is the night air. Only from the long line of spray where the sea meets the moon-blanched land, listen. You hear the grating roar of pebbles which the waves draw back and fling at their return up the high strand, begin and cease, and then again begin with tremulous cadence slow, and bring the eternal note of sadness in. Sophocles long ago heard it on the Aegean, and it brought into his mind the turbid ebb and flow of human misery. We find also in the sound a thought, hearing it by this distant northern sea. The sea of faith was the sea of faith was once too at the full, and round earth's shore, like the folds of a bright girdle furled. But now I only hear its melancholy, long withdrawing roar, retreating to the breath of the night wind, down the vast edges drear and naked shingles of the world. Ah, love, let us be true to one another, for the world which seems to lie before us like a land of dreams, so various, so beautiful, so new, hath really neither joy, nor love, nor light, nor certitude, nor peace, nor help for pain. And we are here as on a darkling plain, swept with confused alarms of struggle and flight, where ignorant armies clash by night. Any poem of Poe, you bet. I love Poe. Do you have anything in particular, Christina? Whatever calls to you. Okay, let's see. Hmm, let's see. Let's see. How about it's kind of longer-ish. Let's do Ulaloom. I'm not sure I've done that one on the live before. Ulaloom, a ballad by Edgar Allan Poe. The skies, they were ashen and sober. The leaves, they were crisped and sere. The leaves, they were withering and sere. It was night in the lonesome October of my most immemorial year. It was hard by the lake of Auber, in the misty mid-region of Weir. It was down by the dank tarn of Auber, in the ghoul-haunted woodland of Weir. Here once, through an alley titanic of cypress, I roamed with my soul, of cypress with Psyche, my soul. There were days when my heart was volcanic, as the scoriac rivers that roll, as the lavas that restlessly roll, their sulphurous currents, ionic, in the ultimate climbs of the pole, that groan as they roll down Mount Ionic in the realms of the boreal pole. Our talk had been serious and sober, but our thoughts, they were palsied and sere. Our memories were treacherous and sere, for we knew not the month was October, and we marked not the night of the year. Ah, night of all nights in the year. We noted not the dim lake of Auber, though once we had journeyed down here. We remembered not the dank tarn of Auber, nor the ghoul-haunted woodland of Weir. And now, senescent, as the night was senescent, and star dials pointed to morn, and the star dials hinted of morn, at the end of our path, a liquescent and nebulous luster was born, out of which a miraculous crescent arose with a duplicate horn, Astarte's bediamonded, Astarte's bediamonded crescent, distinct with its duplicate horn. And I said, she is warmer than Diane. She rolls through an ether of sighs. She revels in a region of sighs. She has seen that the tears are not dry on those cheeks where the worm never dies. and has come past the stars of the lion to point us the path to the skies, to the Lethean peace of the skies. Come up, in the, come up, in despite of the lion, to shine on us with her bright eyes. Come up through the lair of the lion with love in her luminous eyes. But Psyche, uplifting her finger, said, sadly, this star I mistrust, her pallor I strangely mistrust. Oh, hasten, oh, let us not linger. Oh, fly, let us fly, for we must. In terror she spoke, letting sink her wings till they trailed in the dust. In agony sobbed, letting sink her plumes till they trailed in the dust, till they sorrowfully trailed in the dust. I replied, this is nothing but dreaming. Let us on by this tremulous light. Let us bathe in this crystalline light. Its Sibyllic splendor is beaming with hope and in beauty tonight. See, it flickers up the sky through the night. Ah, we safely may trust to its gleaming, and be sure it will lead us aright. We safely may trust to a gleaming that cannot but guide us aright, since it flickers up to heaven through the night. Thus I pacified Psyche and kissed her, and tempted her out of her gloom, and conquered her scruples and gloom. And we passed to the end of the vista, but were stopped by the door of a tomb, by the door of a legended tomb. And I said, what is written, sweet sister, on the door of this legended tomb? She replied, Ulalume, Ulalume, 'tis the vault of thy lost Ulalume. Then my heart, it grew ashen and sober, as the leaves that were crisped and sere, as the leaves that were withering and sere. And I cried, it was surely October on this very night of last year that I journeyed. I journeyed down here, that I brought a dread burden down here, on this night of all nights in the year. Oh, what demon has tempted me here? Well, I know now this dim lake of Auber, this misty mid-region of Ware. Well, I know now this dank tarn of Auber in the ghoul-haunted woodland of Ware. Said we, then, the two, then, ah, can it have been the woodlandish ghouls, the pitiful, the merciful ghouls, to bar up our way and to ban it from the secret that lies in these wolds, from the thing that lies hidden in these wolds, had drawn up the spectre of a planet from the limbo of lunary souls, this sinfully scintillant planet from the hell of the planetary souls. Ulalume, Edgar Allan Poe. You're welcome, Christina. No, I haven't read that particular one from Oscar Wilde, although I do like his work. I've mostly read like his short stories. I don't even know if I've read any of his poetry. Okay, let's read On Living by Nazim Hikmet. Living is no laughing matter. You must live with great seriousness, like a squirrel, for example. I mean, without looking for something beyond and above living. I mean, living must be your whole occupation. Living is no laughing matter. You must take it seriously. So much so, and to such a degree, that, for example, your hands tied behind your back to the wall, or else in a laboratory in your white coat and safety glasses, you can die for people, even for people whose faces you've never seen, even though you know living is the most real, the most beautiful thing. I mean, you must take living so seriously that even at 70, for example, you'll plant olive trees, and not for your children either, because although you fear death, You don't believe it because living, weighs heavier. Let's say we're seriously ill, need surgery, which is to say we might not get up from the white table. Excuse me. It is though it's impossible not to feel sad about going a little too soon. We'll still laugh at the jokes being told. We'll look out the window to see if it's raining. Excuse me. This old Coke Zero is making some noise. My apologies. We'll laugh at the jokes being told. We'll look out the window to see if it's raining or still wait anxiously for the latest newscast. Let's say we're at the front for something worth fighting for. Say there in the first offensive on that very day, we might fall on our face dead. We'll know this with a curious anger, but we'll still worry ourselves to death about the outcome of the war, which could last years. Let's say we're in prison and close to 50, and we have 18 more years, say, before the iron doors will open. We'll still live with the outside, with its people and animals, struggle and wind. With the outside beyond the walls. However and wherever we are, we must live as if we will never die. The earth will grow cold, a star among stars, and one of the smallest, a gilded mote on blue velvet. This, our great earth. This earth will grow cold one day, not like a block of ice or a dead cloud even, but like an empty walnut, it will roll along in pitch black space. You must grieve for this right now. You have to feel this sorrow now, for the world must be loved this much if you're going to say, I lived. On living. Poe is perfect for this time of year. Who really is. You bet. Here's another Poe poem called Sonnet to Science. Science, true daughter of old time thou art, who alterest all things with thy peering eyes. Why preyest thou thus upon the poet's heart? Vulture whose wings are dull realities, how should he love thee, or how deem thee wise, who wouldest not leave him in his wandering to seek for treasure in the jeweled skies, albeit he soared with an undaunted wing? Hast thou not dragged Diana from her car, and driven the hamadryad from the wood to seek a shelter in some happier star? Hast thou not torn the naiad from her flood, the elfin from the green grass, and from me the summer dream beneath the tamarind tree? He's saying science taking all the fun out of everything. Here's The Conqueror Worm, Edgar Allan Poe. Lo, 'tis a gala night within the lonesome latter years. An angel throng, bewinged, bedight in veils and drowned in tears, sit in a theatre to see a play of hopes and fears, while the orchestra breathes fitfully the music of the spheres. Mimes, in the form of God on high, mutter and mumble low, and hither and thither fly, mere puppets they, who come and go at bidding of vast formless things that shift the scenery to and fro, flapping from out their condor wings, invisible woe. That motley drama, oh, be sure it shall not be forgot, with its phantom chased forevermore by a crowd that sees it not, through a circle that it ever returneth into the selfsame spot, and much of madness, and more of sin, and horror the soul of the plot. But see amid the mimic rout a sprawling shape intrude, a blood-red thing that writhes from out the scenic solitude. It writhes with mortal pangs, the mimes become its food, and seraphs sob at vermin fangs, in human gore imbued. Out, out are the lights, out all! And over each quivering form, the curtain, a funeral pall, comes down with the rush of a storm, while the angels, all pallid and wan, uprising, unveiling, affirm that the play is the tragedy, man, and its hero, the conqueror worm. Love, truth, and humor. What's going on? Here's another one, another Poe poem, The Valley of Unrest. Once it smiled, a silent dell where the people did not dwell. They had gone unto the wars, trusting to the mild-eyed stars nightly from their azure towers to keep watch above the flowers, in the midst of which all day the red sunlight lazily lay. Now each visitor shall confess the sad valley's restlessness. Nothing there is motionless, nothing save the airs that brood over the magic solitude. Ah, by no wind are stirred those trees that palpitate like the chill seas around the misty Hebrides. Ah, by no wind those clouds are driven that rustle through the unquiet heaven uneasily from morn till even over the violets there that lie in myriad types of the human eye, over the lilies there that wave and weep above a nameless grave. They wave from out their fragrant tops, eternal dews come down in drops. They weep from off their delicate stems, perennial tears descend in gems. Haunted houses, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. All houses wherein men have lived and died are haunted houses. Through the open doors, the harmless phantoms on their errands glide with feet that make no sound upon the floors. We meet them at the doorway, on the stair, along the passages they come and go, impalpable impressions on the air, and a sense of something moving to and fro. There are more guests at table than the hosts invited. The illuminated hall is thronged with quiet, inoffensive ghosts as silent as the pictures on the wall. The stranger at my fireside cannot see the forms I see, nor hear the sounds I hear. He but perceives what is, while unto me all that has been is visible and clear. We have no title deeds to house or lands. Owners and occupants of earlier dates, from graves forgotten, stretch their dusty hands and hold in mortmain still their old estates. The spirit world around this world of sense floats like an atmosphere, and everywhere wafts through these earthly mists and vapors dense a vital breath of more ethereal air. Our little lives are kept in equipoise by opposite attractions and desires. the struggle of the indistinct that joys, and the more noble instinct, the struggle of the instinct that enjoys, and the more noble instinct that aspires. These perturbations, this perpetual jar of earthly wants and aspirations high, come from the influence of an unseen star, an undiscovered planet in our sky. And as the moon from some dark gate of cloud throws o'er the sea a floating bridge of light, across whose trembling planks our fancies crowd into the realm of mystery and night, so from the world of spirits there ascends a bridge of light, connecting it with this, o'er whose steady floor that sways and bends wander our thoughts above the dark abyss. Well, I am, yeah, it really is. It really is. It's a good, like Emily Bronte, Edgar Allan Poe, that kind of thing. Well, I am actually about to get going, um, but it was, well, wonderful to hang out with y'all, read poetry. Christina, thank you for sharing your beautiful piece with us. And I always have a great time just reading and hanging out with cool folks. So thanks very much for that, and we'll talk hopefully very soon. Hope you all have a wonderful night. Alrighty, next time. Smell you later.